So you're thinking about relocating to Darwin, Northern Territory, but you may have a few questions before you do so. Some of them may be, how easy is it going to be to find ongoing work? How hard is it going to be to find accommodation? Well, over the last 3 months or so, I've tried exactly this. And in this video today, I'm going to share with you some tips, some tricks, what I've learned, and how it can help you in the future. Sweet. Cue the intro. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Benjamin Hyden here with another travel and lifestyle video. I put up videos just like this one on my personal experiences, and I hope that sharing this sort of information with you helps you in the future. If this is of interest to you, then by all means consider subscribing. And yeah, I'm gonna show you around what's going on, where I live here in Malak in Northern Territory. Without further ado, let's get stuck into this video. Kitchen behind me with like the dining room, living room area. This is like the balcony terrace. Through to outside the front, and then carport just over here. And then let's run on through another area, another terrace. Pool that's down here. So you've seen my house here in Malak. I just wanted to add a few suggestions on a couple places of where you can look to find a share house and accommodation. So obviously you've got Malak, you've also got Tiwi, you've got Nightcliff, Parrap, Casuarina, obviously Darwin, and Karama. In terms of where everything is, obviously if you were to think about it, is Darwin being the city, Casuarina being the town, and Malak being like the village. That's a good way to look at it, and the way I look at it. Darwin to Casuarina is probably about 10 minutes. Darwin to where I am here in Malak is probably about 20 minutes in the car. So it's all pretty close, and kind of all of the housing kind of goes around the Darwin airport. So there's always public transport, and yeah, it's a nice and easy way to get around via public transport or via car. Awesome. To carry on this video, here's me at the park yesterday, diving in to answer these questions. So let's talk about the seasons here in the Northern Territory. So you've got two, which is the dry and then the wet. So with the dry is normally from April all the way through to October, and then with the wet it's normally November all the way through till April. The two seasons tend to vary a little bit. With the dry season, you can normally expect it to be like 33 degrees on average each day, blue sunny skies, and yeah, really nice clear weather. Whereas on the wet season, it's a lot more cloudier, there's a lot more rain, a lot more humidity because of the clouds in the air, and for that reason, the temperatures go up a lot more for the humidity because it just gets a bit more muggy, etc. In between the dry and the wet, you do have the build-up, which is currently where we're at the moment at the time of recording this video in October, and the build-up is basically when it just starts to come into the wet season and it gets a bit more muggier, and as you can tell, as it's a lot more cloudier here, we're literally pretty much there. Also, if at any point it does start raining whilst I'm recording this video, I will run and get some shelter to carry on the vid. So let's talk about Northern Territory and the top end. So in comparison to all of the other cities in Australia, so like your big ones like your Brisbane, your Sydney, your Melbourne, your Perth, all of those that I've did my research on seems to have at least about 1 million population or more, you know. Whereas Darwin NT is a quarter of that. It's like, well, last time I checked, it was about 250,000 or something like that. For Darwin NT being an underdeveloped economy in comparison to these other big cities, it definitely welcomes tourism and growth of people coming here to help the economy out. Not only that, I've seen that in construction, I've seen that in hospitality, and for a place to kind of get your visa days done, or to get visa extension in general, whether you want to try and go to PR or permanent residency, etc. I feel that the people I've spoke to here that have tried this sort of thing, it's kind of working for them, which is why I feel like Darwin's a good place to, if you want to get a visa extension. It's a good option, I feel, to come here. So before we jump into how to find work here, I want to focus this video on two particular industries, which are construction and hospitality. These are also the two that I've had the most experience with, I feel, since my time here in Australia, since February 2020, and even more so seeing them here up in the NT. I feel that they're the most popular two to kind of have a lot of work coming in, and also kind of save money and work in with those industries, because they're constantly going, they're constantly people working in them, and there's more jobs up and coming for these two industries as well. So how to find work in the Northern Territory. Now there's a few different ways you can go about doing this. The ones that I've mostly had the good luck with, which is the first one, which is online. So I've done Seek Jobs, I've done Draw a Local, I've done Gumtree, but the most popular seems to be Facebook groups. Like the ones that I'm on at the moment, before I even came to NT, was like Darwin Jobs, or Darwin NT Jobs, I think they're called. And just even looking on those groups even before you come here, just to get an idea of who's recruiting and what's up and coming. And I feel the more research that you do, the better you're going to put yourself in a position for when you do arrive here and how to get into work sooner rather than later. So let's move on to the next one, which is in person. So this has worked for me massively in the past, especially in the hospitality industry, is getting your CV ready to give to employers straight away, so you can literally get into work faster. With construction, if you have already done the research and you know what places are recruiting at that specific time, and you know where they're located, then in turn you can literally go and hand the manager or the bosses or whatever your CV, and that could work as well. Just to get yourself in front of someone, like, and kind of show that you're willing to put yourself there to get the employment, you know. I feel that that's going to be a better option for you, and that has been for me, than just being another CV to come through to the email, like, you know, or like competing with other people on paper. So yeah. And then the third way is agencies. So signing up with an agency which can help you get work. Now, I did a bit of research before I got here, and then when I did arrive, I signed up for 3. The first one was Red Appointments, the second one was Core Staff, and then the third one was ProTech. I got first a job that came up with Red Appointments, and I've been with them ever since. The time I'm recording this video is October. I'm still working on site through Red Appointments, and the work's kept coming in, which is amazing, you know. In order to kind of put yourself out there in the best way possible, I find that signing up with 2 or 3 is ideal, just in case one of them doesn't come through. But they have kept me working, and like, just full disclaimer, like what I work now here in the NT is Monday through till Friday. I do 10 hours a day for the client, for the company, and yes, that's 50 hours a week. And then because I'm going over that certain amount of time, you get overtime and penalties, and then it all adds up. So I'll tell you now, full disclaimer, full transparency, per week I'm on $14.50 after tax, which is great, and the ability to save is wonderful, but it all depends on on how much you want to work and how much you want to put into it. But I mean, for the fact that I'm kind of getting the visa days done for third year, but also being able to save money and be disciplined to do that, then yeah, like the lifestyle for me is definitely proved well. Having the weekends off is brilliant. If I want to go into Darwin and have a bit of a social, that's also great. But I think that for lifestyle and for having a work structure, I think that definitely think about it and research it as well before diving into it. Yeah. So let's talk about how to find accommodation, and I saved this second because normally, as a rule of thumb, I'll always try and get work before I find a comm. Just because if you find a job that's in a more regional place or a certain place, you kind of want to have your house or your apartment or wherever you're living not too far from where you're working. So, and also if you've got the money coming in, then you can also pay down for the rent, the deposit, the bond, etc., and keep going. So before I found my accommodation of where I'm living now, I lived in a hostel for a couple of weeks. I basically stayed in a place called Frogs Hollow Backpackers. At the time, pretty much all the other hostels were booked out. So Mom Hostel, Youth Shack, Darwin Hostel, YHA I think it is, all of those were fully packed because it was dry season and it was super busy. But you know, Frogs Hollow was wicked, like it was cheap. I had a good weekly rate that I had with them, and whilst I was living in the hostel, I was working full-time anyway, and then yeah, as soon as I found a nice place and I knew that the work was coming in, that's when I found this place over here in Malak on Marketplace. Asked for a viewing and then come around and spoke to him, and then he literally was like, yeah, if you want it, bond sorted, done. So yeah, in terms of finding accommodation, I think that the more research you do, I was checking every night. I was literally like every single day and every night, I was constantly on Marketplace, constantly looking online and seeing if whatever come up, and I'm trying to arrange the viewings to kind of get the ball rolling so that I can kind of get myself into a structured living conditions and living place. Yeah. So overall, the ways that I went to look for accommodation were online as well. So the Facebook Marketplace, Facebook groups, and then also flatmates. I haven't had too much luck with replies on there. That's why I've been more focused on Marketplace and Facebook groups. But I mean, every time can potentially be different. So whatever works for you, I feel that get yourself on all those platforms and see what's available in that area of where you want to live. Also, just to note, I'd say take into consideration the dates and the times of when you're going to be of when you want to relocate here. Just because I found from past experience that coming here in dry season is something that you'd probably have to pre-book in advance, just because it's so much busier in dry season than wet season. So things might be booked out, hence why like the hostels would be too full, and it'd be harder to find accommodation and just get settled, you know. So a couple tips to leave you with towards the end of this video. The first one is always have some water with you. Stay hydrated. Up here in the top end, it's a lot hotter, you'll sweat a lot more, and it tends to be you go through water a lot easier. The next one is wear sunscreen. I've got a factor 50 on normally, even when it's cloudy, because I somehow still get burnt somehow. And then also I've got on zinc stick as well for the lips and the nose. That's probably why I put that stuff on at work, especially in construction industry, 10 hours in the sun. I'm always on this sort of stuff, eh? And then a third one, which is never underestimate doing your research prior to relocating to a place. Just because I've practiced this over the years quite a few times, even relocating to Melbourne, relocating to Gold Coast, Queensland and all that, and like we have so much information at our fingertips through our phones and our laptops nowadays. The more research that you put in, the better I feel that you're going to be in the future before you even relocate, or when you do relocate to that place. Anyway, that is the end of this video. Thank you very much, guys, for sticking around to the end. I hope you've got some value out of this video. If you have, be sure to give it a nice big thumbs up. If you've got any questions at all, hit me up in the comment section below. Love to hear your replies and your feedback, and yeah, if I can help in any way, I'll be sure to. Subscribe for more travel video content coming soon to this channel, and we will see you guys back in the next video. Cheers, guys, take care, see you later. Bye bye for now. I am super surprised I managed to get that whole video done and it's not rained. Literally poured down last night with all these clouds and that, so I'm buzzing. I've got that sorted. Right, on to the next thing.